I'm Dr. Lara, and welcome to another episode of Question and Answers with the Angels. If you're new here, people call, or they don't call in, they write in their questions, and then I tune into the angelic realm and we answer them together. So I have quite a few questions today. So go ahead and get some tea or something and sit back and relax, and I'll try and get through them as fast as I can for you. Okay? So the first question was about the cryptids. So for those of us, I had to look it up. I didn't know what that was, but cryptids are like the Loch Ness monster, the Yetis, Bigfoot, all of these like strange sightings. So this person just was curious about why they were here and if they were, what their purpose was. So let's tune into that and see what the angelic realm has to say about that. So I'm just asking the angels these questions. I had already tuned in with them, so they're already here with me. So it's like I'm having a dialogue with them. So, okay. So what they're saying about the cryptids is they're not bad. They share this planet with all of us. What they want us to understand is that these sightings, these mystical creatures, they sometimes go in a different frequency. And we only see a certain perception based on what our brain can handle. There's so much more out there that exists that we just can't comprehend because of all of the information coming through. So it's kind of filtered. So these like not really entities, but these cryptids, they do exist, and sometimes they come into this experience and sometimes they leave. And they're also showing me like mermaids and fairies and angels and gnomes and all of those fairy tale creatures that are supposed to be myths. We have been duped by that. And just like with the gods and goddesses, the ancient mythology, gods and goddesses, like those really were beings. And we have been lied to. We have been duped by the entities that are in control. They have pretty much cut us off from all magic, from all of our ability to see certain things in certain frequencies. Now, there are people that can see fairies and elves and all of these things, and that's where we're headed. They are in a different frequency. So what they want you to understand is that living here on like the planet in 3D, it's very much, if it's in front of me, that's real. And we've been taught that our imagination is just, it's frivolous, but that is actually where a lot of the magic happens, a lot of manifestations happen. And we've been cut off from that for a reason, because they don't want us to know how powerful we are. But the angels are reminding us that we are very powerful. So as far as these beings go, they're not here to harm us. They are living among us. And there you go. So I do want to say that whatever comes through, that's what I'm getting with the angels. Whether you believe or resonate with it, that's fine. If you don't, that's fine too. So just make sure that you are feeling what resonates with you. Okay, and don't believe everything you hear. If like I say something and it's like, oh yeah, that makes sense, or it's like a validation, then great. But if it's like, I don't know about that, that's fine. We all have our different perceptions. We all see different things. So everybody's truth is their own truth. Okay? All right. So the next one is, how can I hear my inner child more clearly? And when do I know when she's trying to talk to me? And what angels can help with childhood trauma? Okay. So the way that I work with the angels, it's kind of different than what other people do. I don't work with specific angels. Like this angel is good for this angel's good for this. I tap into the collective energy of the angelic realm, and then I receive messages. So the first part of this question is you don't have to ask a specific angel to come in and help you with working with your inner child. You just request, angels, please come help me work with my inner child. And whatever angel is assigned to that task will come. So they just want to let you know, don't get caught up in the names. You don't have to remember any of it. You just ask the angels and they're there. So how can you tell if your inner child is trying to speak to you? What they're showing me, they're telling me triggers. So anytime you feel triggered by someone, like if someone says something or does something and you're like, oh, that really hurt, but it's more intense than what the situation warrants. That's how you know that your inner child has stuff to work through, or you have stuff to work through. And I think that that's happening a lot on the planet right now, is that we're being triggered right and left. And it's so easy for people to blame the other person and get mad at the other person. But that actually what's happening is when stuff like that happens, it's here for a reason. It's here to show you, yeah, I have this lower density thoughts, perceptions, and energy, feelings, emotions, whatever it is, that needs to be released. And that's all it is. A lot of people judge their emotions, that they think that they shouldn't have them. But we're human, and that's part of the human experience are our emotions. And when we understand that and we learn how to work with our emotions, we don't feel like we're in prison because of them, and they don't rule our life like, it's like, oh, I'm having a bad day, and your whole day is bad. What you can do is just feel that. Okay, what is it that I'm feeling? And then you just feel it and you let it go. And this is really important. After you let go of that emotion, that feeling, bring in self-love, because the energy has moved away, and so there's a void. And the void needs to have something go back in it. And if you don't put something like light or love into that void, it'll suck up that negative energy back, and you'll have to re-experience it again. And I don't think anybody really wants to do that. So make sure that when you have like a cathartic release, you bring in light, you bring in love. Okay? All right. The next question. Okay. This has to do about the devastation with the hurricanes. They asked what they could do to help. And there is another question about the guilt that they feel that they're doing well, but these other people are all suffering. So we're going to go into that question a little bit deeper. The angels want you to understand that everything that happens on this planet is made to happen. And we might not understand the reason, because we can only comprehend so much and we can only see so much. So it's kind of like, if you look back in your life and maybe we'll just use this as an example, like you got a divorce, and you felt like at the time it was the worst thing that could have happened to you, and you were in this depths of why me and all that kind of stuff. But if you moved through it, hopefully you moved through it and you understood why it happened, but you also have dug deep within your soul and have learned things about yourself. You have worked through things, and now maybe your life is so much more fuller because you met somebody like your soulmate, or you have a group of friends and you're having the time of your life, and now you're traveling. So what they're saying is that there's not really anything that it happens that's bad or good, but it's our perception and the label that we put on it. Okay, so coming back to the first Hurricane Helene, yes, that was a lot of devastation, and there's a lot of buzz and talk around about that. But every soul on this planet has something to learn and something to go through. And oftentimes, when we are struck with devastation and our whole lives get turned upside down, it forces us to see things in a different way. Look at what happened to 2020. In 2020, how many people, we were kind of all like in a trance, and then that was like bam, it woke us up, and it was like, oh my goodness. And people have had awakenings and their whole lives have changed from 4 years ago. So just understand that even if it's a devastating thing that happened, those people are on that path of self-realization, of awareness, of soul growth. Okay. The next question of what can we do about that? If you want to send money, if you want to send supplies, there's all those things that you can do on the physical level that we all know about. What you can do on an energetic level is you can hold that space where the hurricane hit, and all those people that are connected to that, you can hold that space in love and light with the intention that their transformation can be as smooth as possible. Sometimes, it's like when we learn and when we grow, it's not through the good times in our life. Like when our life is good, we're out having a good time, right? But when we're like stuck in the depths of despair or the rug gets pulled out from underneath us, that's when we dig deep, and that's where the transformation occurs. So even though they have all been uprooted from their homes, and in that moment it looks like it's a devastation, their lives maybe 2-3 years from now could have opened up and blossomed in so many different ways that they never would have if they stayed in that space. So then the next part of that is the survivor's guilt. If you understand and can come from the place of everything happens for a reason the way it's supposed to, and everything is working out for our highest good, everybody, then there is no need for guilt, because you realize that they are on their path, they are being guided towards their highest good, and so are you. So there's no need to feel guilty that you are not experiencing that devastation as well. And they're showing me this visual of someone being in a dark hole, okay, and they're wanting to get out, and you're up here, okay, and you wanting to help, but you don't get down into that hole, into that frequency of the devastation, because then you're caught in that devastation too. And then you're both struggling to try and get out. But when you stay up here in another frequency, holding light, holding love, it shines the light on what it is they need to see, and then you can throw them a rope, and then they can climb their way out of it. We don't need to fix anything for anybody. We don't need to make things better for anybody. That is enabling. So when we allow life to unfold the way that it unfolds, then we can let things be as they are and allow people to gather in within their own strength and live their lives to the fullest. Okay, so the next question is, how long will the chaos be until we find peace? Thank you for that question. I think there's probably a lot of people that are thinking that. So let's see what they have to say about that. Once again, please don't make your happiness based on outside circumstances. Okay? Please don't do that, because if you do that, you're never going to find peace. Peace comes from within. All of this stuff is going to continue to happen. It's going to change, it's going to transform, and it has to play out. But you don't have to get caught up in all of it. Pay attention to where your focus is. If you're focusing on all of that, if you're holding all of this emotion in, if you are turning the news on every moment of the day, like that's where your attention goes. And if you're watching that, you're not going to find peace. But if you can find moments in your day where you get away from all of that information, all of that fear and chaos that's being pumped into us for a reason, and you get out into nature and you find those moments of peace, of joy, then you can connect those dots and soon your life will be more peaceful. Is it going to be peaceful all the time? Probably not. You know, things go up and down. The moon rises and it sets. The sun rises and it sets. The tides go in, the tides and go out. And it's all about, you know, moving through the frequencies. Okay? So there, to attain like inner peace all the time, I think that we're putting a lot of pressure on ourselves if we're feeling that we're supposed to be attaining that right now. Um, and they're just saying that, you know, we are going to a different space vibrationally, but that's not a destination that people seem to be waiting for. People seem to be waiting to wake up in 5D, and it's what they're telling me, it's not that way. Okay, you find that inner peace within yourself. You find that vibration within yourself. And when you hold that vibration of light, of love, of inner peace, all of this stuff that's happening on the outside, it doesn't affect you. And your life starts to get better. And when you hold that frequency and your life starts to get better, it helps other people do the same. So by you figuring, like, being in all of this chaos, wondering when it's going to get better, it's not going to. If you keep asking that question, and if you're waiting for it to get better, it starts from within yourself. And the more peace that you hold within yourself, when you let go of all these outside circumstances, the easier it's going to be for you to move forward and through your life. Okay? That was a big one. All right. Okay, this was a good one too. So there was another video I talked about anger, and there's this law of attraction thing. It's like, well, I don't want to feel that, because if I feel that, I'm going to get more of that. So what happens is that when people don't allow themselves to feel frustration or anger, that's energy, and it doesn't go out. It goes within your body and it stays within your body. And so you're holding that frequency. So things keep coming to you and you're angry and you don't understand why. It's because you're not expressing your anger. Okay, so that's my 2 cents. Let's see what the angels have to say about that. So there is validation about the law of attraction. It's what you focus on is what you bring about. However, with these emotions that humans are gifted with, that's when we have to learn how to navigate through them. There seems to be this worry that if they're angry, they're an angry person, and people don't want to be an angry person because they don't want to be mean or whatever it is. But the thing is that if you don't allow yourself to experience and feel that anger, you are going to be an angry person. And things are going to come to you that's going to trigger your anger. So there we go back to the triggers. If you're being triggered by something and this anger comes up, feel it. It's okay to be angry. I think what this person was saying is that when people are angry, they take it out on others. And that's not what we can do with our anger. It's very simple what we can do. When we feel angry, we can go find a space, nobody else, where nobody else is, and we can feel that anger. Sometimes we yell, sometimes we scream, sometimes we hit things or whatever, as long as it's not another person, you're not yelling at another person, to get that energy out. All it is energy, but we label it bad because we have been conditioned to think that being angry is bad. But what is anger? Anger is telling us that there's something that isn't right. And that's what anger is telling us. So if you can look at it that way and say that it's okay that you have this anger and feel it and get rid of it and don't take it out on other people, then that's how you can honor the anger that you have and feel it in a safe place so that other people aren't taking the brunt of it. Because guaranteed, if you are not allowing yourself to feel anger, frustration, any of that stuff, it turns into resentment and you will become a bitter person and it's going to affect your health. So it's important that we get this stuff out. Okay, I hope that one helps. Okay. Oh, this was cute. Someone said, I don't think I hear my guides or my higher self, but I do feel a quiet, deep inner knowing, and I listen to the nudges that I get. Okay. That's your intuition. That is your intuition. The deep knowing, like you know something, but you don't know how you know, that's intuition. So it doesn't matter if it's from your spirit guides or from the angels or your higher self. You can label it what you want. Once again, it's all consciousness. So if it's something that you have like an inner knowing or a nudge to do something, that's what you follow. That is your intuition. So if you have like a nudge to go to the park one day and you don't know why, but you go and then you have a conversation with someone that has an answer to a question that you've had for a long time. That's your higher self. That's your angels, whoever it is that is guiding you towards your highest good. We are receiving this information all the time. What the angels are saying, where the breakdown occurs is we don't trust it or we don't act on it. And once again, it's because we've been conditioned to not honor our intuition. We've been conditioned to think about the logical mind and to work problems out with logic. And there's a reason for that, because our intuition is so much more stronger, it's so much more powerful, and it can guide us to our higher selves, to our higher living, okay, a higher frequency of living, to our highest good. And that's what our intuition does. So if you get those nudges, trust them. Yes, you have intuition. Now you got to trust it. Okay? All right. The next one is, okay, here's another one. This person was afraid that the people that he loved wasn't going to make it into 5D. And he was grieving the loss of that. Okay. So the angels want to reassure us that if this starts happening to you, if these relationships that have been like this start to dissipate and change, it means that they're going on two different paths. One path isn't better than the other. So it's just allowing that to happen. And again, what they're saying is like this place of 5D that people are thinking they're like going to get to, or it's like this final destination, and people might be falling off the planet or whatever they're doing. That's not what this is. It's just an awareness. It is a consciousness. Those people aren't going anywhere. They're not being taken off to another planet right now. They are living different lives. They're on a different frequency. So, and they're showing me like this example. So let's say you were in this group of friends and you all drank, and that's what you did. And then you kind of like realize, wow, I don't really like doing that. That's not for me anymore. It's not going to take me to where I want to go. So you quit drinking. But you try to stay in that group, but it just doesn't jive anymore. You're not having fun anymore. You don't connect with those people anymore. So what happens is you start to go this way and they stay here. but they're not going anywhere. They're still here on the planet. It's just you are not in sync with that vibration anymore. Okay? So, what you can do about the grief, and this is happening with everybody. There's so many things that we are grieving. An old way of life, old relationships, an old way of being who we were, old jobs. Like there's so much. There's a process of this grieving. I think it's Elizabeth Kubler-Ross that had the 7 stages of grief. And we go through this. We go through the anger. We go through the denial. We go through the bargaining. We go through all of that until we get to the actual feeling of the grief of that loss. And when you work your way through all of those emotions and you get to that grief and you allow yourself to feel it and not be afraid of it, then you get to acceptance. And when you get to acceptance, then you can move on with your life. But a lot of people are so afraid of feeling their emotions that they get stuck in all of this and they can't see all of the miracles and the wonderful things that are around them. So just know that you're going through this. Everybody's going through it. Okay? They're not going anywhere. They're just going to be not in your frequency of being. Okay, so and just allow yourself to feel that grief, because that's what's going to be setting you free, is once you feel that and you release it and then move to acceptance. Okay, let's see, this is the last one. Oh, this was a good one. Somebody had asked about how they could find joy in their life when they're so busy taking care of everybody else. Okay. This feels like it is a program that has been set into us, especially women. The martyr syndrome, like it is for some reason we're supposed to be getting a medal if we deny ourselves of everything and give ourselves to everybody else. And they're showing me Mother Teresa, and that is like supposedly the epitome of the saints. And okay, they're giving me information. It's going to ruffle some feathers, and probably people are going to make it click. But this is what I'm getting. That is not how the universe or the angels or the universe wants us to be. We're not here to be miserable. We're not here to deny ourselves. That icon has been placed in our awareness for us to feel like a martyr, for us to deny ourselves. Because what happens when we deny ourselves? We stay in this lower frequency of like sadness and depression. And when we're there, we can't shine our light. We can't do what it is we're here to do. So we've been conditioned to take care of everybody else's needs. And by the way, when we take care of everybody else's needs, we enable them to not be able to do things for themselves. So we're not really helping them. We're making them stay in the exact same place where they are. So when we do that, when we cut ourselves off and put everybody else first, of course you're not going to find any joy. You're not going to be happy. Okay? And there's this thing, I can hear it. It's like, well, that's selfish. Okay, well, that's another thing that has been ingrained in us. It's selfish for us to think about ourselves. Okay. No, it's not. Because the more that we take care of ourselves, the more self-care we have, the more we put ourselves first, the more we have to give to others. It fills up ourselves. We cannot help others when we are depleted, and especially if we are coming from a place of resentment. That is poison that we're putting into them, and that's poison that we're holding into ourselves. So if you find yourself doing these deeds out of resentment or obligation, kind of take a look at that and understand that you have to be the most important person in your life. That doesn't mean that you don't think of anybody else. That just means that you think of yourself first and you fill yourself up first, and then you can give to others. Okay? So finding that joy in your life when you start to have boundaries, when you start to understand that each person has their own path and you're not here to fix it. You're not here to make things better for other people. Did anyone make anything better for you? So when that happens, when people come in and they fix things for people, they are denied the experience of learning how to do things on their own. They're denied the self-confidence to be able to go out into the world and to handle things. So the more that you pull back and you start taking time for yourself, it's like, you know what, I need help with this. Okay, you know what? I'm going to go take a bath first, or I'm going to go take a walk first. I'm going to go do something that fills me up, and then let's talk about it. But I'm not going to fix it for you. Okay? They can do it. They are capable. Every person on this planet is capable of taking care of their own challenges. It's not a matter of them not being able to, it's a matter of them not wanting to. There's a big difference. And they're showing me a horse. It's that whole thing. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So you could be doing all of this stuff for these people and nothing's going to change because they don't want it. And the reason why they don't want it is because they're comfortable where they're at because you're taking care of all of their needs. But if you don't take care of that and they fall and they're miserable and they're sad and they're depressed or they're angry, that's what's going to motivate them to transform. Okay? We do not grow or transform when we are comfortable. We grow and transform when we are faced with challenges. And it doesn't always have to be that way. That's just the way it is right now in this frequency. But as we get out of that frequency, we can learn how to transform with ease and grace. But a lot of people aren't there yet. We're still being bombarded with things because we need to be woken up. There's still another wave of people that need to be woken up. And we can't fix it for them, nor should we fix it for them. They can do it. Okay, so those are all the questions. So please keep them coming. I love doing this. And again, thank you so much for the donations and the energy that you're putting into your comments and stuff. It's really helping me flow more and to do more of this. So I really, really appreciate it. So I just want to thank you so much for being here. Many blessings.